Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another open call. It's really wonderful to see so many of you who've given up your Sunday evening to be here. Thank you for bearing with us while we try a new way of starting the call. Last time, so many of you wanted to be here. We broke Zoom slightly, so it looks like we've managed to mitigate for that. People are still trickling in, and I'm not getting any frantic messages from people saying they're stuck in the waiting room. So that's really great. As usual, we have a lot to share and not a huge amount of time to share it in. So we want to make sure you get everything you need out of this call and that we leave plenty of time for Q&As at the end. I'm going to go over the housekeeping rules. I'm sure you're very familiar with them now, but it helps us make sure everyone gets the most from this call. I'm going to ask that everyone remains muted. This ensures our team is not interrupted mid-flow, and it means that everyone can hear the important information that you've all come here for. We are delighted this evening to be able to offer BSL interpretation alongside the usual closed captions to help make this call even more accessible. I'm sure you'll all give Marie some wonderful wavy hands to welcome them here tonight. We ask that during this call that the chat is limited to the following. If you have any tech or accessibility issues, our tech team will help where they can to ensure you're able to engage in the call. And if you have any questions about the content of tonight's call. Keeping the chat clear of everything else will allow our team to pull together all of your questions and make sure that the ones that are the most frequent or important are the ones that get answered here tonight. If you don't find the answer to something tonight, do not panic. There will be more open calls. If you registered for this call, you will get an email notification, and of course, all the info will be shared in the usual places. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, see the link in the description to register for the follow-up email and get a reminder for the next open call. If you're not already signed up to the ticker, you can do that right now, this second, immediately. Go to extinctionrebellion.uk and check out what the number is. It's going up all the time. If you're not already using them, we can't recommend enough that you are. Join the Rebellion broadcast and movement broadcast for regular updates. Splendid resource for all. You can also join our campaign communication platform on Mattermost for lots of extra information. So with that over and done with, I'd like to invite the open call crew to introduce themselves one by one so that everybody knows who you are. I'm Kat, I'm a rebel from Lincoln, and I'm here tonight as part of the open call team, and I will pass to Rob.
Hi there, I'm Rob I'm based in Uxbridge in London, and I am representing Actions. Shall I pass on, Kat? I'll pass to Zaz.
Hi everyone, I'm Zaz. I'm also part of Action Circle, more specifically Action Design Space, and I'll be telling you a bit more about that later. And I will pass on to Boaty Jim.
Hi everybody, yes, so I'm Boaty Jim because I do live on a boat sometimes, and I'm here to talk about Action Support Crew tonight. I will pass over to Kathy.
Hi, I'm Kathy from the Citizens Assembly Working Group, and I'm here to outline a little bit about what we're going to be doing on the 21st to the 24th of April and how you can help. And I pass on to, I don't know who, I can't see, I haven't got everybody on my screen, so I leave it up to you.
Have we found Laugh, Kat?
I don't think we have yet. I'm going to jump on Marine to say hello.
Hi everyone, I'm Marine. I'm the external coordinator for media and messaging, and also the internal coordinator for the Citizens Assembly Working Group. And I am here today just to do the slides for Kathy. So yeah. Lovely to see you all.
Hello.
And I'll pass to Mary.
Thank you, Kat. Hello, I'm Mary. I'm in the fundraising team of XI UK.
And I'm coming here to tell you about our fundraising team. And if you could join us, it would be fantastic. We need to raise a lot more money, but more of that later. I don't know who to pass on to, Kat. Do you want to say someone?
We found Laugh. Let's pass to Laugh.
Hiya, I'm Laugh, part of Southwest Actions, and I'm here tonight to let you know about Biodiversity Action, which is happening on Earth Day, April the 22nd. Over to whoever's next.
I think we're getting there now. David, do you want to say hello?
Hello, yes, I'm sorry I'm late. Usual domestic chores. Well, here I am. I've had a problem with my screen previously, so I've had to close down Zoom and restart it again. So looking forward to the big one. And we're organising a meeting, a talk in our town, Dawlish, early next month, just getting all the final preparations together, the promotion and so on, getting leaflets printed to drop through people's doors, press release and so on. We're having a Zoom meeting on Tuesday. Over to the next one.
Thank you, David. Having Zoom issues so we don't have to. I think we've just got Kaylee and then we're back to Rob.
Hi, I'm Kaylee, here just to help with all of the tech. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat.
Cool. Is it back to me? Great. Okay. So I'm Rob again, as I said, and here representing EC, External Coordinator of Actions. This is going to be an Actions open call, so we might not cover some of the other elements of the big one and the event and the campaign. And as Kat said, just repeating that there will be other opportunities to find out about that. And just another call out, if you do need BSL interpretation, you might need to just double check that you've got that. Sometimes the spotlight will steer you to me rather than Marie. So please do find Marie on your screen. So yeah, I just wanted to talk briefly about Actions and how we got to where we got to. So this will make sense of why we've got the structure when I kind of get there. So just as a quick campaign update, we began this insane campaign, like many other Extinction Rebellion campaigns. It is completely mad, with this idea of trying to bring 100,000 people to Parliament. Now, immediately we found that having to bring 100,000 people meant that we had to go outside of XR. XR doesn't have 100,000 people on its mailing list, so we had to go and talk to people and make friends. We had to start talking to other groups. So we started looking for supporter groups, partners who might want to get involved with us. Now, the partners and supporters then offered us some constraints, let's say. So our supporters aren't as spicy as we have been in Extinction Rebellion. And so we put out that "We Quit" message. We really wanted to show that we were moving away from public disruption so that we could create this moment, because strategically we felt like bringing more and more people together, unite to survive, exactly is the tagline for a reason. Really trying to bring people together was the thing that the climate movement, after many years of COVID and other reasons for cooling off, needed right now. And that it was important strategically and tactically in the short term and long term that we do this right now, April 2023. So the constraints that were there is that some of the groups that we've now got on board, and there will be an announcement about that really soon. Some of the groups wanted that for the action to be how do I say it? They've been using words like permission and things like that. Now, obviously, protest is a European Convention human right. We have an Article 9, 10, 11 right to express ourselves. So it's not really about permission, but a lot of our groups wanted to make sure that we weren't going to, you know, suddenly get booted out by the police. This is a big change in strategy from what Extinction Rebellion has done previously. And we needed to do that so that these other organizations would agree to occupy the same space with us. That has put some quite interesting, given us some quite interesting hurdles to solve when it comes to actions. We still need to make the actions purposeful. We still need to make the structure of the whole thing actually exert pressure so that there is a reason for us to be doing what we're doing. That beyond just bringing everyone together. Yes, we do need to unite to survive, but more than that, we need for it to be exerting pressure in a really interesting way. So with that in mind, we came up with a structure because obviously we did have to start speaking to the authorities, including the people who run the parks and the green spaces. And in a moment, I'm going to show you a slide with a map. It gives you a little bit more information about the space we're looking at. In fact, I will bring that up now so that you don't just see my face waffling and you can see this nice slide. And wait, I'll share screen first. That's it. There we go. And you should see that now. Hopefully, there we go. So we started planning for, this action. We're looking in this area of the Houses of Parliament. And this southern area of Westminster, south of the Houses of Parliament. And we started talking to the authorities that run some of the parks in this area. So Victoria Tower Gardens is where my cursor is now, if you can see that, which is down by the Thames, just south of Parliament. You've obviously got Parliament Square. You've got other little green spaces all around this area, which were going to become useful to us. So we had to start speaking to the authorities about those spaces to see if we would be able to use them. That is something that our partners and the supporter and the other organization really wanted us to do, to make sure that we're not going there just to get booted out 5 minutes later. So we had to talk about that, and we had to come up with a really good narrative for why we're going to be there. And what we did was we came up with this idea of 4-4-4, which I think you've seen in, maybe have seen in another open call if you've been here, but this is just 3 blocks of 4 days. So from April the 17th, so before the 21st, we're going to be opening a preparation center, a sort of hub, to have a physical space in which people can meet and do creative workshops and other talks and trainings and have a chance to get together in person. It's really important for building capacity, especially around actions, that we can speak to each other and get to know each other on the ground. And then from April the 21st, which is the second block of 4 days, the main block where probably the most attention will be, we're going to be in this area every single day, south of Parliament Square. The reason we're south of Parliament Square is because the Saturday and Sunday, the marathon, the London Marathon on the Sunday and the mini marathon on the Saturday, will be running across, down the embankment and then across the top of Parliament Square. And because of that, logistically, they'll have some barriers up, especially on the Sunday. There'll be quite a big crowd. And so we're going to occupy south of that area to make sure that we can coexist with the marathon. And as an action planner, I just want to be really honest with you about sort of why we've made some of these choices. I'm going to keep that up there and just talk to that really quickly. We had to think about sorry, let me just get my notes up. So what's actually going to exert pressure and how we're going to do that coexisting here. Now, we had some real constraints about when we were going to do this as a campaign. And it's more important that you know the sort of truth behind that, which is that we chose the date April the 21st and we announced it because it's really important to get that date out there as soon as possible. It helps us all kind of get our gears whirring and organizing towards the date. So we really needed to get that out. Choosing the date was really, really difficult, but there were some absolute parameters in there that were obvious. One of them is that not long afterwards, on May the 6th, in fact, is the coronation. That's going to be something that absolutely sucks up the media hugely. So we didn't want to clash with the coronation, be mad to do that. And certainly that would suck up the media for a time afterwards as well. We also had a quite strong red line which was that we wanted Parliament to be sitting for at least some of while we were there. Didn't make much sense for them to not be sitting. And you'll find if you check the Parliament holidays that actually our elected parliamentarians are on holiday quite a lot. So that narrows down the number of dates we can choose from. We also had financial constraints, which is that the organizational, some of the central organizational elements, the operations of Extinction Rebellion, were going to struggle if we kept trying to push off the rebellion until later and later and later, because the way in which Extinction Rebellion has always managed to get good fundraising in is through rebellions. If we are not doing rebellions often, then there's not enough funding. And then if there's not enough funding, it's very hard to run a rebellion because it always takes a lot of money to print all the flyers, to get people out there, to do all the stuff that we have to do. So we were kind of pushed into that April the 21st date, and it's turned out it's a really good one, because on April the 22nd, it's Earth Day, which makes a huge amount of sense. That's a global event that will be happening. So we wanted to make sure, though, that we're actually exerting pressure. There's no point us trying to bring 100,000 people on one day, because the Iraq War March had 1 million. You know, that's something that's been said often enough. There were loads of people in the Iraq War March, and what happened? Well, we still went to war. So how do we do it? Well, the way we do it is just by being there day after day, by continuing to build this pressure. This has always been one of the key tactics of Extinction Rebellion, is to really try and exert this pressure. So some of the questions I get asked a lot as an action coordinator is going, oh, when's the best day for me to come? My honest answer to that is, the more days you can come, the better. If you've got capacity to be there from April the 17th, please be there from April the 17th. Help us organize on the ground before we even get into the space. That's really vital for creativity. If you can be there only on one day, that day you should choose probably between April the 21st and 24th, whatever's going to work for you. But we do need to try and sustain this pressure. So that's the kind of brief campaign update. Sorry, it's a little bit waffly, but that's hopefully giving you a really just honest overview of how we came to the decisions we made and why we came up with a structure that we've come up with. This is sort of 3 blocks of 4 days. So we then, looking at the map, we then started thinking about what we're going to do over these days as an action design. So we're still sticking on the name. We're about to kind of announce the name and roll it out. But for everyone here who's interested in actions and getting involved with things, what we'd really love you to look at is to start thinking about the government departments that are in this area. So a lot of groups we're working with obviously have, you know, particular interests. It might be nature and biodiversity. They might be interested in trade. They might be interested in transport. So just so you can see that at number 8, we've got the Department for Works and Pensions. At number 10, we've got the Department for Health and Social Care. At number 9, we've got the department, which used to be BASE, which was Business and Energy. This is now Business and Trade and Science and Innovation. At number 11, we've got the Department for Education. At number 12, we've got Tufton Street, 55 and 57 Tufton Street being some very, very influential think tanks. At number 13, we've got the Home Office, which is also the department for, which is DEFRA, the Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, and the Department for Levelling Up, Housing and Communities. And at number 14, we've got the Department for Transport. I will put that all here. So you can see that here on this slide. That'll give you an example of that. This will all be in the Rebel toolkit, and I think those links will be hopping in the chat at some point during this call. If they've not already been there, I'm not following the chat at the moment because I'm talking, but it might already be there. And you'll be able to download those maps. I have drawn a dozen maps of this area because I love drawing maps. I really recommend that you draw your own map as well, because it gets you invested in what we're going to be doing. Now, we need to transform this space, and we're going to be doing that with a little focus on government departments. So over the next few days and weeks, we're going to be asking for local groups and also your interest groups. So maybe you're an educator, you're with XR Educators, but you're also from the Midlands. You've got 2 different interests. We'd like to know which departments your group might have special interests at looking at. That's going to help us organize the space and make sure that each group really has a strong say in what they're doing around which space and which department. It's a really cool action design. It's going to help make this whole space really coherent. It really applies, as you can imagine, on the Friday and the Monday, because on the weekend, no one's going to be in those departments, or very few people, certainly not the people we're really targeting. There'll be security and other things. So what we want to do is have a very strong presence when we get into the space on the Friday, and then we will allow those spaces to become self-organizing. And the aim is that it's even better on the Monday. That's not something that a small group of people can organize. It's not something that we can organize behind the scenes, even local groups. What we want to do now from this sort of announcement, it's the first announcement of it, is to get local groups reaching out through the Actions email or on the Mattermost or on any other channel you have, and start talking to your local groups about which government department you'd be interested in being near. Then we'll link you with all the other groups that are interested in that department, and it will be able to become then a self-organized occupation of this space. There'll be a little bit more guidance about this, because obviously we have to make sure that that occupation still is something that our partners, our big key organizing supporters, we've got some really amazing big sort of NGOs, environmental NGOs and others that have come on, and not just environmental NGOs, that have come on board as supporters. This is an Actions open call, and I've been told I'm not allowed to reveal any of those, so I can't reveal any of those, because they want it to be a really proper announcement that the supporters have also fed into. There's been a lot of backs and forths about what kind of permissions we need and how this is going to work, and so these conversations are there. But the supporters that we're talking to at the moment are really exciting and on board. So I'm hoping that's going to be just around the corner. And then on the other 2 days, so this is Friday and Monday, 21st and the 24th, and then we've got the 22nd and the 23rd in the middle. And then momentum afterwards. There's always this question. Once you and your local group have done this, you've been at your government department, you've met up with those supporter groups that are coming on the streets with you, maybe for the first time, what are you then going to do? How are you going to connect with those people? And what are you going to do afterwards? How are you going to make sure that you can keep up that pressure in some way? And that's really a key element of this rebellion design. The big, I'm not meant to use the word rebellion, but the big one, this design, the Unite to Survive, is how these relationships continue to grow, because that's really what we need to do for our movement. In a moment, we're going to go to Laugh, who's going to talk about Earth Day and the Biodiversity March, which is happening then. On the 23rd, the Sunday, we've got an amazing action design, which is just a little bit too early to tell you about, but that's on the day of the marathon, the evening of the marathon. And then on the 24th, we're back to those government departments, bigger and better. And there will be a couple other elements to the action design that are still being worked on. How do we support each other? You can also think, if you're in a supporting group, well-being, things like that, how do we support these actions focused on government departments? Please do get in touch. Use all of the means you have getting in touch, and we're trying to help spontaneously groups come up. Just before we get to the Biodiversity March, I'm just going to jump ahead and talk very briefly about that design. A lot of people go, okay, but what kind of action can I bring? What can I bring to the this rebellion? Because I want to, I've got this action design about this. What I'd really encourage is for you to look at which department that links to, and look at this real need to unite with other groups and with other people. It's important this time that we don't take actions that have the kind of the visual of a small group of people going off and targeting their one thing, while everyone else is trying to work together and listen to each other and have dialogue. A lot of the actions, and a really key thing, I think someone mentioned to me the other day, a really beautiful way of thinking about it is a perfect action is, I want to make 1 million stencils of myself, like an anti-Gormley statue. You need someone else to draw around you. You need someone else to complete that action. And that's a really good example of the kind of action designs that we're looking for in this, the big one. We really want action designs that get other people involved, that are creative, that require other people to get here. There are 300 people in this Zoom call, with all our supporters, we might have, we're aiming for 100,000 people. A lot of these people might never have been on a march before. People in 2019 who might be on the march this time, who might be 18 this time, were only 14 in 2019. So we need to bring these people into the movement and into many movements, but in a way that's really open. We've got to open ourselves up again, and that's got to be part of our action design. And it's really off-putting when you see some people kind of going off in their really closed way, and they know what they're doing. But what's going to get the press, what's going to get people excited this time is people coming back day after day, making it stronger and working together. And that's what we really want to shine through in our actions. Okay, so I've done enough waffling. I'm going to pass it over to Laugh to talk about the Biodiversity March.
Okay, thanks, Rob. Yeah, one of the things that will be happening on Earth Day, sure there'll be plenty. Yeah, basically a proposal was put into Action Circle from XR Biodiversity Group in Exeter. I'm part of the regional team, Southwest regional team, so I've helped move that forward and help plan this action, get a team together, and basically the idea is basic plan, a rally, a procession, then a die-in, maybe the biggest die-in you've ever seen. So yeah, and the aim of that is to highlight biodiversity loss and the ecological crisis on Earth Day. So yeah, the plan so far is in the run-up, from now onwards, we're inviting people to make artwork and costumes to bring along to honour and respect all the endangered species, and to bring representations of all that nature and wildlife onto the streets of the capital. We're getting an action pack together for creative ideas and inspiration to send out to people. And there'll also be a chat channel as well for people to share their ideas and pictures of their creations, etc. in the run up to Earth Day. On the actual day, we're aiming for roving outreach teams in costume with artwork, inviting people to come along and participate in the event. Also inviting them to come along to art making workshops, placard making, face painting, that sort of thing in the morning, to bring them in and help them participate and have a stake in that action. Idea is for a rally to start from 1 to 2 p.m. Keep it short and snappy, with notable and expert speakers and maybe some performers. Be focusing on the ecological crisis, both global and local here in the UK, as well as all the possible solutions, regenerative culture, regeneration, ecocide law, citizens' assemblies, etc. So at the culmination of that rally, the aim is from 2 o'clock onwards, there'll be a procession with XR rhythms, samba, and one idea is for that procession to be choreographed. So there are a number of stops along the way, periods of silence and reflection, maybe even with amplified bird song or other sounds from the natural world. There's all ideas in the process at the moment. The finale of the procession, we're aiming to head to Parliament Square for a mass die-in to symbolise the silent spring in an iconic and visually impactful setting. And then, yeah, there'll be a closing speech to top it all off. So, yeah, participatory, everyone can get involved. There's all sorts of creative ideas that you can get involved in beforehand. And yeah, that's where we are at the moment. If you want to help out with the outreach on the morning, or potentially on the 21st as well, inviting people to come along, then I will post an email in the chat very shortly. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Laf. I think now we're going over to Zaz, who is going to talk about pathways to participation. Over to you, Zaz.
Thank you. And can I ask Rob to share the slides and I'll guide you through. Perfect. Thank you, Rob. Right, so you can go to the next one. So yeah, I'm just going to go very quickly through different ways that having heard a little bit about some of the plans that are, starting to become a bit more concrete, how you can actually, what you can do basically from now on, and also when we come to the 17th of April or the 21st of April. So this is what we call the pathway. So there 4 kind of different areas that you can focus on in order basically to prepare for that big thing happening in April. Can we move on to the next slide, Rob?
Sorry, it's a bit slow. Hold on. There we go. Did that work?
Perfect. So yeah, mobilization, big one. So before that, actually, I would say, some of you might be part of a group, whether it's a local group or a community group. If you're not, join one is the best way to get organized. Hopefully you have something locally, but you would also have special interest groups like doctors, etc. So I'm sure you can find something. So go to the website and join from there and then get organized with your group. So there are plenty of things that you can do. I think, was mobilization the first one, Rob? I think we should have had deliberation, but that's absolutely fine. Mobilize people, basically. It's fine, don't worry about it, Rob, that's absolutely fine. Go back to mobilization if you want. Yeah, cool. So we're going to do a bit of advertising. For some people, they might have already done that when we had our rescheduled kind of festival of resistance. We are encouraging people to basically kind of paint the street, advertise the 21st of April, get the word out there, reclaim the streets, reclaim our space. There'll be more information coming up. We have a Telegram chat that you can join, and that's where you're going to get the information. Obviously, the Rebellion broadcast is also the one place where you get a lot of information and the Mattermost. So keep your eyes peeled. Maybe in the meantime, train each other up, do a little bit of fly posting in your area, advertise bus stops and things like that. Have a little bit of practice. It's great to mobilize people. And then, once we have a bit more detail about the big pain in the street, then just off you go. Do you have any ideas to organize actions locally, potentially with other local groups, local social justice groups? That you can do in order to kind of build that momentum and get the word out about the 21st of April. I think someone was mentioning some actions already in the chat. Do you have any ideas for actions that you might want to do during the big one? Then get in touch with us. We'll share our email address for XR UK actions into the chat. Let us know what you're planning to do. I think someone was mentioning an incinerator action. Great, get in touch. Let's see where that could fit. Do some outreach. I'm sure you've been doing that a lot already. Get your people going, go out on the street, organize stalls at your local markets, organize film screenings. There are a lot of things that you can do in terms of outreach. So that's the mobilization side of stuff. Next one, please, Rob. Support, maybe you can kind of reskill, upskill, just refresh your memory, or just completely learn completely new things if you're fairly new to the movement. Learn about well-being and non-violence. We have a mobilization Telegram chat where we advertise all the upcoming trainings, etc. So you can get involved in that. Make sure that you understand the main principles of XR, what non-violence means. Making sure that we practice regenerative cultures, etc. You might want to volunteer to help with different aspects of the 21st of April and beyond, like sustenance, campsite, and logistics. Watch out for announcements and how to get involved, again, on the Rebellion broadcast on the Telegram chat. So these are the other things that you can do as well. Next one, please, Rob. Regeneration, a lot of creative things to do here. You might want to organize some art workshops. You heard that there's going to be a biodiversity march. Great opportunity to actually organize a bit of art and craft session. Let's make our own costumes. Let's print some banners and flags. You might be a performer yourself. You might know of people who could do some performances. Can you get in touch with those people? Can you try and arrange things, see whether that could get into the programming? Practice regenerative cultures. There are a lot of different activities that we can do in order to make sure that we also take the time to actually breathe, offer, quieter spaces for people. So can you think about some activities that are a little bit more social, and that gives the time for people to get to know each other, etc. That's also a very important thing to do in preparation for April. Next one, please, Rob. Deliberation, so alliance building, a big one I mentioned earlier. Do you know of any local group around you that you might already be working with, or maybe some that you think that you should invite them to the 21st of April? Is there anything you can do with them before the 21st of April? Organize an event, have some people's assemblies with them, trying to find what you have in common, what's the common ground. Could you potentially go together in front of one of the departments that were mentioned on the map somewhere, because you have something in common there that you share, Department for Housing, Department for Trade, whatever that is. So build those connections, basically. There are a few sessions that are being advertised on a Rebellion broadcast about how to build relationships and all that. Again, do have a look at the Rebellion broadcast. There's so much information shared there. And I think that might be it, Rob, or did I forget a slide? Cool. And obviously you are needed. We need everyone right now. We understand that it can be a little bit frustrating because a lot of people are also waiting for more announcements to come with regards to exactly what's happening. But everything is obviously in the process of being made and arranged, and a lot of moving pieces, but now is the right time to get in touch. There have been emails shared to the chat, XR UK Actions. If you have anything to suggest, get in touch and make some suggestions, and that's basically the time now when we are putting all of this together. So do make the suggestions and let's start discussing them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Zaz. Now I think we're going over to Jim to talk about some other ways to get involved. Floor's yours, Jim.
Thank you, and thanks everybody for staying with us. I know, when you're on these open calls, it can at times appear that you're being bombarded with opportunities to get involved, and I'm going to give you some more. So for those of you that don't know what Action Support does, so Rob was talking about Actions, all the planning of all the exciting things that are going to happen at those government departments, and what the Action Support crew do is we help to make those beautiful events created by the action planners actually happen. So we work before, during and after actions and rebellions. We do things like liaising with the police, getting the permissions, ensuring rebel well-being, providing first aid, toilets, those sort of things, embedding non-violence, de-escalating if people are getting or situations are getting tense. Talked about outreach with the public, marshalling marches, drumming courageously, creating beautiful banners and supporting in the back office, and many, many, many more roles. There is something for absolutely everyone. So please join the next open call, which is going to be Action Support, where you can find out a bit more detail about all those specific roles. That's 7 p.m, Sunday, the 19th of March. One thing that's going to be slightly different at this rebellion, because it's nothing spicy other than getting 100,000 people there, that means we need a lot more support people. If we have 100,000 people turning up, we need approximately one support role for every 100 attendees. So I need 1,000 people per shift over those 4 days. We're not going to be able to get 1,000 de-escalators, 1,000 action wellbeing, etc. So what we've agreed within the action support team is we're going to create a new role, a kind of general stewarding and support role. And this role, you'll be given basic stewarding training, basic de-escalation training, action wellbeing and access support role training. And then if you need more specific support, you'll call in one of the specialist teams. You'll be working in groups of about 10 stewards. So if you've never done stewarding before, or you've never been involved in something at a rebellion, please, I ask you, just volunteer one shift over the 4 days. It's fantastic fun. It's a great way of understanding how all the different roles work, and you'll be there helping the rest of the rebels, the partner organizations, and the public make sure that they enjoy the days and actually get something out of it, and we achieve our goals overall. A couple of other plugs I've been asked for. Accommodation. Please book your place if you want accommodation, because very basically we need to book the toilets. And if we don't know how many of you are going to be there, we don't want you to run out of toilets. So please just book your place. You can always change your mind, but please just book it. And a few critical recruitment roles we've got at the moment. Outreach is looking for a couple of coordinators. So if you think you'd like to get involved in a bit of the planning before and during the event, join us for those. Accommodation is looking for an external coordinator that gets involved with all the other internal groups. Logistics, anyone who's got skill in logistics planning, a bit of a specific role, but if you have those skills, please, please, please get in touch. And then, as I mentioned, the stewards, those generic stewards, I need 1,000 people per shift per day. It's 2 shifts a day, so that's not 8,000 people, because hopefully some of them will be doing more than one shift, but I'd love 8,000 people to volunteer. And at the end of this, I will share you a link that gives you a bit more information about the roles, and specifically inside that document will be a link to register for Sunday in 2 weeks' time. I hope to see you there at the Rebellion. Thank you very much. Back to whoever's next.
Thank you so much, Jim. We're passing over to Kathy next, who is going to talk to us about the work of the Citizens Assembly Working Group, which is a really important part of everything that's coming up. Over to you, Kathy, and your trusty slide sharer.
I hope she's there. Anyway.
I'm here. Sorry, let me just get it up.
It's okay. Anyway, I'll start off by telling you that the third demand, Citizens Assembly on Climate and Ecological Justice, is the least sassy and the least understood of Extinction Rebellion's demands. But we're not going to go into details on this call about it. But at this point, I'd just like to invite everybody here and all your friends and family and everybody out in the wider public circle to come to our next talks, where we give a talk and there's an opportunity to ask questions. The next 2 that are scheduled are on Thursday, the 16th of March at 7:30 to 8:30, and Tuesday, the 28th of March. If none of these slots work for you, and if we are available, we're really happy to do one for groups at other times, but you'd have to email us. If you already know something about citizen assemblies and are keen to spread the word, which we really need help with, come to our next CAN workshop, which is the Citizens Assembly Advocate Workshop. Details of the date of that will be, I think, on the events page in the on the website. During the 21st to the 24th of April, I don't know if we've got a picture coming up here, we could have help. We would love help. Here we go, with outreach. We have the Citizens Assembly gazebo, which will be up somewhere, I don't know where. It's great to be visible so people know where to find us. We're a really friendly team and we actually like having fun together. So we need people to help there at the gazebo. After that, there are walk around with talk to me about citizens assemblies patches that you can have on your back. We will provide them, and leaflets, and that's an opportunity to go around and talk to people about the wonders of a citizens assembly. We're hoping to sort of get going a talk shop game sort of workshop that we're designing, and we would like help doing that to do other activities. It's not that easy to do really sassy stuff with citizens assemblies, but you know, it's a really brilliant concept. And we really need everybody to get out there and talk to people. And for that, you need to understand what they are and how they work brilliantly. So we encourage you on top of that to look at our website. And if you go to the website, you go to Decide Together at the top, and citizens assemblies. As you can see, we do hang up our washing line, do a talk in Hyde Park, wherever we can. We never know where we're going to do it, and we do it as often as we can. So do join us if you're keen. I think the link, our Citizens Assembly email will be there. Please let us know that you'd like to help. Thank you. And pass on to the next person.
Thank you so much for that, Kathy. Yes, now we're going to go over to Mary, who is going to talk to us about fundraising. Over to you, Mary.
Yeah, thank you, Kat. Fundraising. Some people don't like talking about money. They think we should just run on voluntary energy and nothing more. But that really isn't possible. If we're going to do the things we're doing at scale, we need a lot of money. There's a lot of things that need to be paid for. Yeah, some people are a bit embarrassed about talking about fundraising. I'm not. I'm talking about our wonderful team of fundraisers who've got some new energy and new ideas and new people, and we're putting the fun into fundraising. And we need to raise a lot of money for the big one, and we're going to try and raise a lot of money at the big one as well. And we're working across teams within XR UK, like the creative team, media and messaging, data. We need to link up and really push fundraising in a really creative, lovely way. So if you have any fundraising skills, we'd really like to hear from you. If you could contribute a few hours a week and come and help us, that would be fantastic. But even if you don't have fundraising skills, if you've got marketing skills or communication skills, those could be really useful to us as well in developing our fundraising ideas. So we'd love to hear from you. Our street fundraising team are working on creative ideas for things to do on the streets at the big one. More on that soon. Our community fundraising team are working with the different communities within XR UK and the nations and regions of the UK and the local groups, and trying to support all of those people in the fundraising that they're doing as well. And we also have people in our team who are doing grant applications to trusts and foundations, and our public fundraising team write the emails that you probably see coming out on Action Network. And we're also developing work with well-known and wealthy people who are supporters of XR to develop our fundraising work there. So there's all sorts of things that we're doing. It's really important that we raise a lot more money. So if you can give your skills and time, that would be fantastic. You can contact us on the jobs board on the website, or just email us at fundraising@rebellion.earth. And if you can't give your time or skills, it would be fantastic if you make a donation. And we've got a QR code coming up at some point, maybe at the end. But you can also press the donate button on those emails that come out and on the website as well. So that's about it, I think. Thank you, Kat.
Thank you so much for that, Mary. I really love the idea of putting the fun into fundraising. Now we're going to go back to Rob again to talk about some priority recruitment needs. Over to you, Rob.
Thanks so much. I actually don't think we need to do that because Jim has mentioned all of them wonderfully. So that's really useful. And I think we can go straight on to the Q&A, which would be great. Just to very, very quickly, though, steal the mic and recap that in terms of just to kind of put an actions bit here, in terms of what you can do in your local group right now, this moment, is go back, find out what your local group wants to do in terms of the government departments within that area. Have a look at that map. If we can, I don't know if we can get a version of that map into the chat or some other way so that it can be downloaded. That would be amazing so that people can see. But otherwise, Google the area Google that area south of Parliament Square and look at those government departments. You can just type in department into Google. If you have any more questions, you've got all the email addresses hopefully in the chat. The actions email is xr-action@protonmail.com, or you can Mattermost me directly, as long as you're kind. I am at Rob Callender. Super simple. But yeah, let's go to the Q&A. Zaz, do you want to just explain the cool thing you got?
Yes, of course. So we're going to go through some of the questions that have been asked in the chat, and different people are going to respond to them. We also want to hear from you, like, what's that one thing that you're going to do as a result of this open call? So let me just share my screen very quickly. So that's just going to run in the background as we respond to the question. Basically, I hope that someone can paste that into the chat. If you are on a mobile device on your laptop, just type, open your web browser, type menti.com, and then just input the code that you have right at the top, just above the question, and you should be able to basically put your answer there. So what we're asking you is, what one action are you or your group going to take after tonight's update? You've heard a lot of like ways you could be involved, you know, and it's very easy to kind of get your head all over the place. Maybe it's good to think about one thing you want to focus on right now, and that you can feel good about, because you have a bit of a driving direction, basically. So it should be open for you if you go to menti.com and then input the code. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing the screen for now, and hopefully people will be adding their ideas as we go through the questions. And then at the end, I'll be sharing again, just to give some inspiration for people. And I can see some great ideas already coming. So yeah, let's see at the end of the Q&A. All right, let me just stop sharing and go through the Q&A now. Thank you.
So yeah, keep adding to that. It's really useful. I'm gonna post a link in the chat yet again, so you've got that. Keep adding to that, and then we can all see it at the end. I guess the thing, I don't know if anything has come up in the chat repeatedly. If anything has that you're aware of, can you let me know now, Kat? Otherwise, if you've got a question, maybe raise your hand. Just got a few minutes for questions.
Rob, if you dive into the Q&A doc in the script, all of the questions are in there.
Very, very clever. Sorry, I missed that. Okay, so I see one in here, which is about how the partner orgs are going to get involved with the transformation. So this was a bit of a chicken and egg thing. We needed to have have an idea of what we were going to do before we could kind of get the partners on board. It was really odd, you know. It sometimes feels like, oh, you know, you can just have a conversation with another group and they'll tell you what they want and you'll be able to collaborate together. But in reality, there's all sorts of, well, we don't want to get involved with you unless we know what you're doing. And then we have to kind of say, but if we tell you what we're doing, then you won't be co-creating. And, you know, so what we've sort of slowly, step by step, inched forward to come to a kind of plan that would be as acceptable to the parameters that we knew we had to kind of abide by, but still apply pressure, as I explained at the beginning. So now, just as we've said to you to go back to your local groups, find out which departments you've already been targeting, where your interests are, things like that. We're also saying the same thing to our partner organizations. That said, some of our partner organizations are also going to have their own spaces within this space. And they've really kind of wanted that to be able to own their own kind of area and tell their, you know, volunteers or donors or however that organization works, that they've got somewhere to come. There's been a few questions about families that I've seen. We are definitely trying to make sure that we've got proper family spaces that are consistently run. So there will be those. We already have enough green spaces for well-being and first aid and things like that, but we are still waiting on permissions for some of the other green spaces. And then we're hoping that we've always had one in mind to be, you know, a big family space, but also for grandparents and different groups that might go there. So let's go. So there's been a few also about when is the third lot of 4 days. This is another interesting one. We're really, really cautious about over curating the event so that we wouldn't end up with a kind of rebellion where people just come and then they watch a lot of speeches and then they go and they don't feel like anything has changed. And so it feels very important that we program a need for people to step forwards into roles and what they're going to do next. So we are actually, there is a whole nother layer that we haven't really been able to talk about yet today, which is about how people are going to be able to do that on the ground in a way that is maybe a little bit new, a little bit edgier in terms of something that maybe people haven't experienced yet, which will be really cool. It's just a way in which people can kind of feel the momentum that is needed. And so in terms of the third lot of 4 days, we've been talking about that period after the 24th, with, you know, we've got the preparation days, the 17th to the 20th, and then 21st we're in Westminster. We know we're going to be there 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th. What's going to happen next? And that's always for us about needing that to stay open so that the groups that then get made, the groups that hopefully this will be like what happened in April 2019, another moment of like great fertility for the climate movement, where suddenly lots of groups kind of emerged. And, you know, we want that energy to feel like it's got space to develop into something new. And that might mean, okay, well, we all want to go over here and do this thing, but it might mean different things. So we needed to make sure that that was open, but that we are explicitly talking about it, and that we are designing things that will kind of funnel people in there. And then there's a question here for Kathy about are not citizens' assemblies going to be the overall demand for the big one? I understood this was to be the focus, not just a stall. I don't know if you want to answer that, Kathy.
Trying to unmute myself. Well, it is very much the focus of the 4 days, and but what's integral and what's really missing is that we need a huge number of the population, not just rebels, to understand what a citizens' assembly is, in order that they get behind it and there's legitimacy. Because if it's just coming from a small group, it's not enough. So education outreach is vitally important. And then the idea is that with our allies, that there will be a great push towards this demand of government to have a citizens' assembly on climate and ecological justice, which will cover really, it isn't just going to be one, because there will be different levels to it, but it will cover all of the crises, the intersecting crisis of our time that we're all facing, because they are all related. So that's the aim.
And then just before we wind up, because I think we are about to hit time, Marine might want to say something to that, and then can we ask Kat quickly if the slides are going to be shared?
Yeah, just super quickly, it's not going to be just a citizens' assembly stall, but there will also be on the main stage, there'll be loads of speakers, deliberative democracy experts, lots of guests coming in. So there'll be loads more, but the things that Kathy just talked about are particular things that we really love help with, if that makes sense. So yeah, there'll be lots of other stuff happening as well. Thank you.
I'll jump in and answer the question about slides. Yes, the slides that you've seen tonight will be on the Rebel Toolkit shortly after this call ends. We're truly trying to make that a one-stop shop for everything to do with this campaign. So if you pop on there, the link will be in the follow-up email. It's been in the chat, but I'll pop it in again. You'll be able to find everything here and more.
And I'm afraid I made a mistake by asking people to put their hands up. So Greg and Grace, I have to be really awful and say we're not going to take these questions because we've got Marie here doing sign language. We got to end at 8 and it's 8 o'clock now and we want Zaz to share her screen. If you could get in contact with me on Mattermost, I would love that. Otherwise, send an email if you don't use Mattermost yet. Zaz.
Okay, so you should be seeing what's being shared by people. Hopefully you should be scrolling down as well. I can see a lot of really great suggestion of what people are going to do now. It's good to see that you have a bit of a focus already. Some people are going to join local groups. Some people have already got contacts with other action groups and campaigning groups. So they're going to get in touch with them, see how they can work together. People are going to do some training. They're going to help with stewarding. People are getting organized. XR walkers, that's a massive one here. They're going to be walking from different locations. That's great. People are getting organized to choose a government department and then have something organized there. So that's really great. Keep sharing. That is going to remain open for at least another hour. So it'll be good to see what people are up to. The only thing I wanted to end up on with regards to action, there were a lot of questions about, so what is it, was it going to happen? What do I tell people is going to happen? Something that we want to emphasize, and it's hard to get our head around it in the system that we live in when we are told what to do all the time, is basically we really want to co-create this. So obviously there are a lot of ideas already. There are things that are being organized like the Biodiversity March, but we also want to hear from you. Obviously there will be choices that will need to be made, hopefully because we get so many suggestions, but there are really things that are up for grabs. So it's not about us telling you, okay, well, this is what's going to happen and you have to come here at that time. Please get in touch with XR UK Actions. The email was shared earlier. Let us know if there's something you feel like doing. People were asking about the different departments and what would happen there. Do you have any suggestions? Please make your suggestions. Let's start the conversations with different action designers, etc. Let's see where it fits within the bigger picture and all of that. So I hope it makes it clear enough. Like, we all make this exciting. So let's not wait for us to tell you, right, you should come because of this, but you tell us basically. And I hope that makes sense. And sorry for taking over time. Thank you. And so great to see all of this coming up still.
Yeah, so we are at the end of our call now. Thank you ever so much to everybody who has been here. It's been wonderful to have you. I'm really sorry to everybody whose question we didn't get to answer. Please do take them over to the online community space on Mattermost. There are plenty of people there who will continue to be able to answer your questions. Unfortunately, we don't have enough time to answer them all, especially when we have this much information to share as well. So thank you for being here, and we look forward to seeing you at the next one.
Bye, everyone.